Okay, we thank you so much for staying with us. It's New Dawn on the People's Daily Ogtv 25 VHF, the first edition in the year 2022. We say Happy New Year to you, and we thank you so much for keeping faith in us. Now, we will be looking at the Constitution Review report on this program this morning. The Senate has said that this month they will look at the report on constitutional review. But we want to look at the real task for the Senate on this assignment, and that's why we've got to bring two crack gentlemen to look at this topic this morning. The real task as Senate commences work on constitutional review report. We have in the studio with us on my immediate right a lawyer, an economist, a banking and finance expert is all rolled into one, Dr. Benga Adeoye, one of our guests this morning. Good morning, Dr. Adeoye.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us on this program this morning. We also have with us a legal practitioner, one of those who have been here regularly and they actually illuminated this program. It's also joining us this morning, Barrister Ken Ibabiwola. Barrister Ibabiwola.
Good morning.
Good to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, viewers.
Let's start with Dr. Adeoye. There are some critical issues that Nigerians really want, Senate to look at in the Constitution. On the face of the fact that federal government said they want to begin to consider the report of the review, constitutional review, there are some germane issues that Nigerians really want, the committee to address. What are these issues?
Okay, let me start by saying that I'll quote Benjamin Cardoso, and he said that history, in illuminating the past, illuminates the present, and then in illuminating the present, illuminates the future. There is no country that can survive or develop in terms of the laws, because law is supposed to grow without looking at your past and then juxtapose that with the present so that you can have a future. And I think our problem started in 1998 when the committee, legal practitioners, they understand better as they go to argue in court. But for those of us that are in the economic aspect, the financial aspect, I feel that the crash program through which this 1999 Constitution has amended severally, because there is 2018 amendment here, was that they concluded at a time, even is in the Constitution, that they should adopt 1979 Constitution with some amendment. Therefore, what we have today that we call 1999 Constitution is actually 1979 Constitution with amendment. And so the foundation is having an old structure, old foundation, and you're trying to build new structure on it. So that's why you are having serious amendment. But let me say that the critical thing that must happen if the National Assembly is serious about the amendment is to take a look at the issue of restructuring. And the best way to have proper presidential system is if the National Assembly can insert into this Constitution how we should be governed without ambiguity, specifically because when you look at Section 8 and Section 9 on amendment of the Constitution and the procedure, how do you expect that National Assembly have to decide on local government creation? Now, if there are parties or states that feel ahead of you because of number of local governments, or a region that feels ahead of you because of number of states, and they have to be part of those who, in fact, to change the rule on constitutional amendment, you need 4/5, 4/5 of the majority in the National Assembly. Now, to make certain amendment, local government and state and boundary issues, you need 2/3. I do not think somebody who feels he has advantage over you is going to sit down and then look at your people, present any bill to amend the Constitution that will now change the status quo. It's not going to happen. And that's the issue of creation of local government and the rest. So, in addition to the data gathered during the tour around the country, they should just address restructuring. Once you do that, and you have proper presidential system like that of the US, where the state of Texas is on their own. If you are a nurse or a pharmacist or a doctor in Texas and you want to go to Florida, you go through a different process. That's what we call federating unit. Until we have that, and that's why you see a lot of people want to die to get to the federal.
Okay, maybe we'll have to ask Barrister now. He said restructuring is one thing that will perform the magic in the 1999 Constitution as we have it right now. If that is inserted, then it will change something. Do you agree with him? Or do you...
Well, let me start with the saying of my professor of jurisprudence, Professor Akin Oyebode. I will say 2 lawyers, 3 opinions. So we can not always agree. Sometimes we will agree. Sometimes we may not agree. In the first place, where I really beg to disagree with my learned friend, an economist and financial expert, is that what we call constitution is not constitution in the legal sense. So in the first place, a constitution that is full of flaws, too many complexities, that it may even take me 3 good days talking about this constitution. In the first place, he said 1979 constitution with some amendment. I agree with him totally. The military government under Abdul Salam gathered 15 people with some scholar. One of my teachers was one of them, Professor Taiwo Shipitan-San, to represent Nigeria was about 80 million then, to give us a constitution. There is a dichotomy between constitution and law. Law is talking about rule of conduct, how we do things. Constitution is the organic law, fundamental law, from where all other laws derive their power and potency. 15 people to give us a constitution, and they violated the rule of approbation and reprobation. They call it Decree 24 of 1999. And it's under section 14, subsection 2. The same constitution says sovereignty belongs to the people. How can you approbate Decree 24, decree, military imposed law, 1999, and in section 14, they say sovereignty belongs to people. So in the first place, we need a new constitution. A constitution that is homemade. And I'll give us instances. The 1996 Constitution of South Africa, the draft was circulated to almost the entire citizenry, everybody. Debates, contributions, etc. The Uganda Constitution of 1995, the same process. Ethiopia Constitution of 1994, the same process. What happened? If I begin to talk about this constitution, one after the other, for instance, let's look at it. Section 55 of this constitution talk about the conduct of business in National Assembly. And says the business of National Assembly shall be conducted in English language, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. Section 97 that talks about the state assemblies, well structured, that okay, the business of the state assembly shall be conducted in English language and any other language being spoken in that state. Fine. Now, section 55 of the Constitution contradicts section 42 on discrimination. You recognize Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa, all of people from Edo, all of Efik, and all other minority groups. That is one. If you look at the Constitution, chapter 2, every lawyer knows that chapter 2 is non-justiciable.
So with the way we are going,
the
constitution, like you have suggested, we need to rewrite it. So with the kind of people we still have in Nigeria, a new constitution is produced. Are you saying that the result is still going to be different?
Let me make this point. Let me quote another person who said, the constitution has two parts, the text and the operators. The text is talking about what we have before us. But the operators, until they appreciate the essence of constitution, the ground norm, we will continue to express the same thing. For instance, now we've had 4 alterations. 2010 July, we had one, okay, that addresses the issue of transmission of power. You know what happened during Yar'Adua and Jonathan, when power was not transmitted to him, and some other issues. In 2010 again, November, we had another alteration targeted at INEC. In 2011, we had the 3rd Alteration Act that addresses the issue of NIC, National Industrial Court of Nigeria. 2018, we have another alteration that is talking about qualifications of people who want to contest. I have a question, even for viewers. What fundamental issue has these alterations addressed, as rightly said by him? The issue of federalism, fiscal federalism, has it been addressed by these alterations? The issue of state police, section 214 and 215, has it been addressed by this? The issue of federal allocation revenue formula, section 163, has it been addressed by the alteration? A lot of issues.
Dr. Adeoye, you know, he said something just now. With the issue of alterations that happened so far, what has been the effect of that on the people of Nigeria? So what is it that we need to do, whether there's something we need to do before the alteration, before injecting the restructuring that you are clamoring for in the Constitution?
Well, I would say that, you know, he's a practicing lawyer. I have an accountant in practice. And you know, when practicing lawyers are talking, it's as if they are before the judge and they want to argue his case. But from the perspective of crisis management that we studied, there is nothing that you have that you cannot look for something good out of it. And he mentioned the operators. Now, take a look at section 1 sub 3 of this constitution that talks about supremacy of the constitution, which says that this constitution shall be supreme, and any other law that contradicts the constitution, to the extent of that contradiction, that law is void. Not only that, earlier provisions in the constitution are actually superior to latter provision, where you have words like notwithstanding in a section, notwithstanding any other provision in this constitution. So it means that earlier provisions are valid. Now, when you now go to section 14, that talks about, that address true federalism that we talk about. There shall not be predominance of this section, religious or this. So I think if we pick the constitution and address the good aspect of it and implement it without disobedience to the law, we will have some goods come our way. Because when you look at section 9, in amending the constitution, section 9 and section 8, you are going to have problem. This is penultimate year to election. I do not see the National Assembly sitting after the holiday to carry out any serious amendment around the constitution within this. Look, you have 12 months this year. Election is February. Now there is going to be party primaries will take place this year, governorship, local government, and presidential, and even the Senate. And courts will be busy, right? And the people that will amend these laws, they are the people that also want to contest election. So if anybody tells you that this constitution is going to change and that from 2023 we are going to have a brand new constitution, the person is actually deceiving you, because it's not going to happen.
Then if you don't trust implementation.
Are you talking of trust now? Trust. I'm just explaining the fact.
Yeah. Because we have also talked about implementation too over the years. Because we have also pointed out the fact that the Nigerian constitution is not totally bad.
Yes.
But it's also about implementation. So it means that this exercise is in futility if implementation remains the albatross.
Yes. I would say that first, in good governance, there is something we call efficiency and effectiveness. Now, in any organization, whether it be a country or an entity, the kind of people that handles the affairs must come from the best brain among the people. That's one. Experience, education, and exposure, such that they know that this is right and this is wrong. So, if you talk of implementation in Latin, he knows that there is what we say, nemo dat quod non habet. You cannot give what you don't have. So, the issue of implementation, I have seen a lot of ignorance, especially among the administrative agencies of government. A lot of entities will give you procedures, regulations that contradict the Constitution. Okay? Now, take for example, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act and the Police Act says that police must not arrest a person in lieu of suspect. So if somebody lives in your house and is a criminal or is accused, and then they come to your house, if he's not there, police will just grab you and say, by the time we detain you, you will talk. Now, there is law in the land that says police must not do that. Search on houses must be with warrant, except if you are pursuing a particular suspect and then you are able to trace him to that environment and you are in search of that person. But now we've had houses of Supreme Court justices being bombarded by people. So you don't say that there are no laws in the country totally, but we have a lot of impunity around us. Where, okay, recently a man was arrested for driving with expired tire, and in the process of arguing with the road safety officers, he found out that their tires were actually expired. Do you understand? So what it means is that, are we really passing laws that we believe can be implemented? Because when you look at, he was talking about Professor Akeoyebode, expert in jurisprudence, where law is supposed to emanate from the society, from our conduct, from our behaviors, and then we codify them. And then it becomes acceptable to everybody. But now, this constitution says, we the people. And everybody kept saying, this is not from us. But somebody must do something to start the republic that we started in 1999. So, and I think from 1999 till date, is either we were sleeping, and I'm talking of the National Assembly now, and the elders in the country, to the extent that we are still talking about the issues pertaining to the Constitution. Our problems are well known. There's disunity, we have insecurity, we have unemployment, and then we have over-concentration of power at the center. And that was what led to the agitation for VAT control that you have in the country. So I do not think all of those ones are too difficult for us to quickly amend and say, let's give power back to the people. But if you are expecting brand new constitution as he is expecting, I think he's expecting a brand new constitution. He's not going to get a brand new constitution because the time frame is short. And after the election, then we begin to expect new expectation from the people. We start saying, How are you going to do our roads? Are we going to have a better airport? Are we going to have a better healthcare? That will dominate our discussion. But I believe with this one too, if we're able to pick all of those ones that are good, we'll be able to move forward.
But Mr. Bangwala, primordial sentiments, he's raised a few of them. Disunity and the lack of trust among principal regions in the country. You don't think they are also likely to affect this next exercise by the Senate beyond your expectation of a new constitution?
Well, let me first of all rebut something by saying I've not given a time frame on this program for the concept of new constitution that I have canvassed for. Of course, we know that the National Assembly members cannot give us new constitution because the process of lawmaking is different from the process of making the constitution for people. However, let's look at the document we call the Constitution, so that we should be able to manage some contradictions. This is what we are using for now, and we can't dispute the fact that it's still the ground norm, irrespective of all the irregularities, anomalies, and complexities in it. Look at the preamble of the Constitution. It says, "We, the people of Nigeria, gathered under God, to give ourselves this constitution." The question has always been, when did we gather? Can 15 people represent? So that is one issue. We now come to another issue that he raised, the issue of the supremacy provision, that the constitution is supreme, and anything that is in contradiction of it will be null and void. The issue we are saying is this. What we are saying is this. Something, the foundation is bad. Can you build or not on it? Mark 4 and USA, a very popular case for all lawyers and law students. You cannot build something on nothing and expect it to stand. We are saying this document is full of fallacies. This document does not represent us. By way of history, if you look at the constitutional development of Nigeria from 1922, from Clifford, in 21st century, should we be talking that the Richard Constitution of 1946 divines us more than what 1999 Constitution is giving us? 1946 Richard Constitution created the regions. The Magazine Constitution of 1951 also did something better before federalism was introduced by the Littleton Constitution of 1954. Now, we are in 21st century. This document that is before us has not addressed major issues. For instance,
but you said we. Now, we the people, I'd like to go back to that.
Yes, sir.
There is supposed to be, everybody will not really gather in Abuja.
Yes.
And I mean, there will be representations and
Yes.
all of that. Now, are we saying that it is wrong to, appoint Dr. Adeoye and Barrister Bamiwala to go represent Ogun State in Abuja when they are putting the laws of the land together?
It is wrong, sir. The process of lawmaking is different from constitutional making. Ogun State, you have to look at the population of the people here before you now send 2 people. For constitutional making, at least every group should be represented. You are talking of people in business, you are talking of the laymen, you are talking of the academia, you are talking of judiciary, you are talking of every aspect. For instance, let me go to exclusive legislative list. What is solvency and bankruptcy doing, item 5, doing under exclusive list? Go to exclusive list, about 19 items are there. What business has the National Assembly got to do with some of the, for instance, poisons, drug, insurance, item 33, and many other items?
Where are they supposed to be?
They're supposed to be, if you have fiscal federalism, or what Dr. described as devolution of power, states should manage some of these things.
Concurrent.
Give power to states. Let's have a system that will have states with more power and central with just little power. For instance, I've said it on program here. Kano is not consuming alcohol. Lagos is taking taxes, VAT, what have you from alcohol. Then the proceeds of what they generate from alcohol will go to the federation account. Somebody who is amputating hands of people taking alcohol will share from the national purse. Where is the equity?
A lot of people have actually said that.
Where is the equity?
A lot of people have
We
said
won't leave this
that
place.
the context of the 1999 Constitution is also important in this debate. As at the time they were putting together this document, maybe those things were the things that obtained, and it wasn't really an issue, and that's why amendment is always one thing that is always put on the table, that you should amend the Constitution to reflect the current realities of the country.
Let me tell you the problem then. The problem then, 1998, 1999.
Okay.
Everybody was talking about civil government. People were fed up with the military government. And of course, after the death of Abacha, no military man was comfortable on that seat because it was period of tension. Abiola died, Abacha died, and they were looking for escape road. Let us return the government to civil people. So they needed a document then, constitution. Now, they did well by giving us Decree 24. After that period, it is expected of a civilized nation to gather the people. Military gave us this, and people have been, every time people come on this program, they will talk about this constitution. Let them go to other TV stations, the same document. Eminent jurists talking about it. Then it should occur to them that now that we are under civil rule, what will it take them? There are two systems to do this. What will it take the federal government, the executive, to sponsor a bill to National Assembly for constitutional making? We know you cannot do this. But this bill sponsor it, give us time frame, whether 2 years, 3 years, let people send their representative. And after the draft, by that conference, let the document be given to people, let there be contributions. Now, let me tell us this. Are you even aware that what we are having presently, the first one, second, third, and fourth, they are not amendments. Check the language. It's called alteration. They alter it because he pointed out something. 4/5, 2/3. How can you get this for amendment? So the issue, what we are saying is that when you have a fundamental problem, for instance, now someone has typhoid and is treating headache. Do you think the typhoid will go?
No, it won't. With what you're saying precisely, we have a document that was given to us by the military.
By the military.
And what is it that we are practicing democracy right now? What is it that we have done differently from what the people that gave us the document, or what is it that we need to do to change the face of the document?
Well, let me appreciate the people. At least from 1999 till now, we are under civil government. I think we have to give us kudos and applause for that. That, okay, no matter, people have been saying that the worst of democracy is better than the best of military.
Is that true?
People have been saying it. It's a truism. So I don't know, maybe it's rebuttable. The issue is that, okay, we've been managing, just as Doctor mentioned, managing our crisis gradually. But what we are saying is that this document that we still rely on, there will be crisis. For instance now, the issue of presidency, rotational presidency, has it been addressed by the Constitution? They are saying no rotational in the contesting presidency in Nigeria, and we notice that one particular region or area has been dominated. If we have a constitution that says if the North spend 4 years or 8 years, let another, there will be less tension at the central. Let's be realistic.
Okay.
If you have a constitution that addresses every issue of business, issue of politics, issue of, for instance now, cost of government. Go and check the Constitution section 145. We have 42 ministries. If you have a system in which cost of governance will be reduced, people will be better off. We have a lot of issues. What we are saying is that the military did well by imposing this document on us, but we, the civil people, the civilians, should be able to give ourselves something. This is fundamentally bad. And it's incurably bad. Let me use the language of Lord. It's incurably bad until we get and give ourselves a document For time frame, we know, I agree with him, between now and 2023, we can't give ourselves new constitution.
Okay. Even for the time frame, even for the exercise that that the Senate is about to actually start. Do you trust that? Do you trust in the long run?
Let's make recommendations. Maybe they can hear us. Now, the way the country is polarized and there is agitation, I want to be there, your region must be there. I think, you need to look at the culture of a particular state. Now I'm referring to country in deciding your system. So I think a country like Nigeria should have president in council, where you have 6 vice presidents from each region. So you have southwest, south-south, southeast, northwest, north central, and the northeast. So now, where the president comes from a particular region among the 6. Now, we need to also bring that regional system, because we find it in the what we call federal character, but not in the Constitution. Though Section 14 made reference to federal character, just by way of mentioning. So, if we can bring this type of amendment and say, we want to birth a new Nigeria, let's have 6 vice presidents. Now, what it means is that if this president would just be president in council, and so if there is any diplomatic issue to go to United Nations or anywhere, expert among them, we go. If we need to discuss loan issue, economic development, expert among them, we go. So the president in council is not actually beyond the other 6 vice presidents, but it's just that somebody must preside. Now, when you have that from all the region, the 6 geopolitical zone, so the southwest is not going to say, oh, the president is from somewhere. The southeast is not going to say the president is from somewhere, because this is the president in council. So they meet. That's one. Now, if anything happened to the sitting president, the president in council has a vice president from his region that steps in, and then you have another vice president replace that person. Now, these are the kind of cultural review that we need to do.
Is this a model from
yes,
in any country?
No, that's not, I'm looking at our system.
Okay, our system.
Yes,
okay.
Because we'll continue to have this issue. So once you have that regional arrangement, so you see the minority people taken care of. He was talking about the insertion of Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. That came up at that time because we have predominant ethnic group that we have. The language they speak is actually that. Now, if we want to talk about almost 300 ethnic groups and languages, the people in Cross River, close to Cameroon, we will not achieve anything in 10 years. So, we can have that. Then we now look at the issue of ministerial appointment and look at every region. We may not advocate for Minister of State and then the senior minister if we are trying to reduce cost of governance and we are trying to merge ministries together. So there's nothing that stops us from looking at saying, okay, since we have vice president from every geopolitical zone, so each of the geopolitical zones can now bring maybe 3 ministers. 3 times 6 gives you 18 of them. So not 42 as we used to have before. Now you now look at it that, okay, if the vice president that is in council is from a particular state in a region, take for instance from the southwest, if our vice president that is in council with the president is from Ogun State, then it means that if we want to nominate the 3 ministers, we will have to consider other states within our region. So by that arrangement, politics becomes local. And then one fundamental thing that we must do is to get the traditional rulers involved in our political system. So we have 3 senatorial districts in every state. Take the paramount rulers from each of the senatorial districts. So for Ogun Central, we have the Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland. He is going to be part of the government of Nigeria. Now, it's accessible to the people in Egbaland. Therefore, all Egba people, all their issues, literate and illiterate, they will assess him, give him document, talk about their needs. Do you get that? Now, the same thing will apply to each of the states. So, and they can rotate this position among themselves. By so doing, because I look at the land system in Ghana, for example, land still resides with the people. The government will approach the community and say, we need your land. Sometimes they decline. They say, no, we have a purpose for it. If you want to buy land, your document to complete your transaction with the people. You only register with government. So we have our own Land Use Act, was a decree of 1978, which is being abused. So all of these issues, economic issue, getting people involved, reducing cost of governance, involving traditional rulers and all professional bodies, having vice president who are in council, will reduce agitation and increase trust.
All right, Barrister, because we already stated on this program that we're not going to have a new constitution, not anytime soon. So maybe you give us your recommendation as the Senate will be embarking on that exercise.
Well, what I would say is that issues that are fundamental to our coexistence as one unity should be looked into. For instance, the issue of resource control. If they have the lever and the boldness to address this issue, tension from many regions will come down. For instance, the Niger Delta, the environmental issues they are facing and what they are getting as the revision from oil and what they have. So resource control is very germane. Then the issue of security. I see no reason why in the 21st century we should have Nigerian police, whether they call it force or anything, and then such organization at the state level, the security is not well managed. Even the governor of the state cannot give order to commissioner of police without the commissioner of police making some reference or taking order from the IGP. So section 214 and 215 should be looked into. Another very germane issue is the issue of local government autonomy. Section 7 and Section 8. Why should the local government be like a servant to the state government? Of course, in one of the alterations, one of what they are saying, they are now saying they want to give them financial autonomy. And governors, for what they are deriving, what they are seeing from local government allocations, a lot of issues. And local government is just there. Is whatever you get from the state is what comes to you. So let them make local government autonomous, let them be the top tier of government, and let whatever is going to them, go to them. The issue of taxation, the arguments and controversies that generated. So to me, exclusive legislative list, a lot of items there should be moved to the concurrent legislative list. A lot of issues, the issue of devolution of power. Let states be powerful. Let each state be able to manage its affairs. Then let me agree with Doctor on what I will call succession plan for Nigeria. Look at what is happening in Ibadan. Because of the structure that they have, one could possibly predict the next Olubadan. Exactly. The problem we have with westernization of our concept is that we do offer universality of concepts. Well, this is democracy. Without looking at what we had before the colonial masters came. We had our system, we have the Oyo Empire, we have the Edo and everything. Now, if you have a system in which, for instance, in Yoruba land, they have the ruling houses. When another sleeps or goes to where his ancestors goes to, they know the next ruling house. Although we still have some problem, people still go to court. The one that I should not forget to mention is the issue of judicial reform. If they do anything without judicial reform, they have done nothing. Okay. Why should we have only one Supreme Court in Abuja? When a case will be in Supreme Court for 7 years, 9 years, the litigator or whether the claimant or defendant will die during the process and a lot of issues.
So the people now, because we're talking about those that are representing us at the different places, so the people, what should the people continue to do to also reflect the yearnings of the different parts of the country?
Of course, the people should have listening ears. The problem I have with many of our representatives is that when they get to power, they hardly look back. And the people, look at behind the camera, doctor was saying something that I won't make public. Why should somebody, a leader, my representative, subject me to such a situation in which I have to come to his doorpost to come and beg for bread for my Christmas? I have to go to my senator or my House of Rep member for a cup of rice and kill there inside the sun. They should think about how people can be empowered. If you have social system, we have economic system, political system that is all balancing, all encompassing. People can't be living like slaves in a country where they're supposed to have a say. So these are some of the things.
The people also themselves should also take part in politics and also see our people put our leaders under pressure. To become a governor in a state, to become a senator, people spend a lot of money. And you see these politicians, I've listened to politicians, when they go to do something in a particular place, it's thinking about culvert, about roads, about this. People are thinking about money into their pocket. Yeah. Now, how do you expect 500 people coming to you? Do you know the number of text messages they get? I need 50,000, I need 100,000, all of this. So people have actually eaten their cake and at the same time want to have it. So we need to change this system. Let's put our leaders on the right pressure and ask them, do this for us, make this recommendation. Now, he mentioned about judiciary. Apart from the reform, the autonomy of the judiciary needs to be looked into. If a court gives an order and state government or federal government refuse to obey the order of court, I mean, it just shows that we are not living by example. So the judiciary should be respected as we have the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. It's a third arm. They need to make an amendment in such a way that the executive cannot just throw the judiciary anyhow. So that's part of what we need to do, because that's the hope of the common man. But beyond that, all of us need to take part. Take your people up, take your councillor up. If somebody becomes a councillor or local government chairman, and the next thing is that he turned to become a billionaire, you need to question him. Not that you'll be asking him to donate and give you money. So these are, because people have seen politics now as the best investment. So that's why you won't see law pass against themselves. So, because you too, you want to collect money from your senator, you want to collect from your House of Rep member, and you are expecting them to do the other aspect that will better your lot. They're not going to achieve that. So we need to check.
Some people have, but some people have, they usually said that Nigerians are very easy people to lead if you do the right things. You know, if you make them understand the fact that these monies are for infrastructure, they're for this and that, they will cooperate with you, they will listen to you.
Before you talk of this money is for infrastructure, how do they get there? That's the question. Because as an accountant, I will tell you that there is what we call investment appraiser. You check the capital you are putting into a project and look at your payback period, what is the margin you are expecting. So if somebody, before he gets ticket, he has to give somebody somewhere 10 million, he has to give somebody somewhere 20 million, and he has spent billions. And now you are expecting him to bring a bill or do something, or as a governor. If a governor has spent 20 billion to get tickets and do billboards, so we are doing money, we need to change it. And you are expecting him to now think about your road in the first 4 years. No, he's not going to think about that. He's going to think about the cost.
Those things are they not components of
yes, internal.
We need to change.
We need to change the orientation of our people.
Yeah.
Go to places
within political parties, even within political
parties.
parties.
Do you know that some of the leaders, they dodge their community They try to come maybe 1 or 2 times.
They come home at
Because
Christmas.
they know
Or when elections
that
are
once you come, your house will be jam-packed. And they are not coming to say, oh, our leader, God bless you, take this adire, take this ram for Christmas. They are saying, our leader, give me ram, give me adire, give me this. So it's demand. And so sometimes it's difficult to blame these people. How did they get there?
Very soon, my wife will be delivered of a baby.
Yes.
Okay, quickly.
Let me quickly say this.
Yes.
Then we should be talking about the quality of people that represent us.
Yeah.
There is one abnormalities in the Constitution. The definition of school start. I can't imagine the 21st century when other countries are having brains manning their nations, that school start will be primary 6 holder by definition and by interpretation. I can't imagine. Even the Fourth Operation Act that tried to do something about that. That clause is still there.
Yeah.
We should do something.
Anyway, a very huge task before the Senate. We are looking at the real task as Senate commences work on Constitutional Review report. And the 2 gentlemen in the House have said a lot. I know that they still have a lot in their stomach, but time is always not our friend on this show. And that's why we have to go now. We must thank you so much for coming onto this program. This first edition of the program, it's quite historic. It's a rebranded New Dawn, and the first 2 guests on this program are Dr. Bengadui. Thank you so much, Dr. Adie, for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Barrister Kehinde Bamiwala.
Thank you
it's
very
much. It's a pleasure to have you on this program.
Thank you, viewers.
Thank you so much. When we come back, we'll still be talking about law. We have a son in the house. We want to look at a resolution of political conflict and the judiciary, which is also related to what we've just discussed. Stay with us. In 2-3 minutes, we'll be back.